Alright, today's video is a special request from one of my subscribers, Miss Third Eye. She wanted me to do a video talking about how the tarot pertains to the Kabbalah. Alright, I will explain to you like I explained to her. I really don't know much, so I'll give you what I know. So this video may be a work in progress. We may redo it when I learn more. So I'm not just a teacher, I'm also a student. So if there's anything you want to add, you can message me or make your comments, but don't just tell me anything. Actually try to explain it as if you're teaching me, like I'm trying to teach you. All right. Some people just make comments just to brag about what they know and doesn't tell me what that means. So yeah, whatever I leave out, if you see anything, just go and help me out. I also want to bring that up because I also look at other people's pages. So one of the things I'm going to talk about is meditating and breathing exercises. You can get, I talked about this guy right here, Dr. Aleph Bay, when it came to my Psalms, the candle magic video. So he had a whole website that teach you how all the Psalms lined up for depending on what magic you want to do with which candle. You can also go to his channel, so you can subscribe, but he does videos on breathing. Because if you're not doing it now, you should be doing some type of meditation, at least 30 minutes out your day. Another guy, I look at his lectures. You can subscribe to Occult Lectures. The guy you're going to find on there is Brother Panic. He just did something on Batman Trilogy. I'm going to do a video on the Batman Trilogy also. He inspired me to do so. Reason why I'm bringing them up because it has something to do with today's lecture also. But I also want to show that I do use other people for references. So you can look at their videos. You can look at his Batman video after I do mine also, or before. His is 5 hour long. So these guys, they're pretty long-winded. I don't really go that long. My point I want to make up is like I get information from other people and I put in what I think is left out, or I add on or put it or make it simpler or something like that, and make it shorter. You can do the same thing when you watch my videos. I don't mind that. So so just recycle as long as you try to get the information correct. The tarot cards I've used is the Rider-Waite cards. So this is the first one, which is the Fool. So this is from the Rider-Waite deck. So Rider-Waite. The other ones I use the BOTA. You can go on their website. But the reason why these are some good tarot cards because if you have they're an offspring of the Golden Dawn or Hermetic Order. So they combine that with the Masonic Blue Lodge lesson. So most of their teachings is like that. But they have the tarot cards where you can color them in. So when you meditate on them and color them in yourself, it puts a little bit more power into them. So what you want to realize about magic is magic in any form requires energy to work. So only by actually doing magic on a daily basis, working with energy every day, and learning to control energy, will your spiritual power grow stronger. So that's what we're trying to do here. So when you're trying to do this tarot work, you have to meditate. Some people recommend meditating on one card at a time. I'm gonna show you some different ways you can go about it by meditating on the Kabbalah Tree of Life. So you got to put your energy into it, your thoughts into it, and that's what this is all about. Then you'll be able to get answers from your subconscious mind about anything you want to know. So I started with this, and I just went another way with it. So some of the things I wrote out so I won't forget. I usually write out a script for these videos so I won't go long. This video may be one of my longest videos because I didn't feel like writing out a script. So I'm going to try to freestyle and just use the charts. So before I forget, so I showed you the 2 decks of tarot cards. You can use any tarot you want. The Rider-Waite are usually the more popular one. You also might want to get this book, The Complete Magician's Tables by Stephen Skinner. This will give you all the correspondences and stuff like that, so you'll know what lines up with what, like with the tarot and the Kabbalah. You'll know that in the second emanation, the second Sephirah, you have all the 2s going there, all the kings, and all the wands from the tarot deck. If it's a regular deck, you're talking about the wands are actually the clubs. All right, stuff like that. You'll also know this is what a zodiac rules. That's that particular emanation. So you can get that book. That'll help you with your studies. So just in the tarot deck, you got 22 major and 56 minor cards. I'm going to be just using the major cards today because we're not doing divinations. So that's what you can use those for those. That's another lecture. So we're just using it to show you how it pertains to Kabbalah. Now, so let me just say right now before I forget. All this stuff, magic and everything, is all about how you started off as a light being and your journey down to this physical world. So you still energy, but your energy get denser as you get down to the bottom, and you become more solid, and that's when you get to the physical. So all these allegories and everything and all your magic is really about for you to remind yourself how you got here and how to get back up. So that's what Jacob's ladder, going up and down, the angels going up and down the spine or the middle pillar. So that's Jacob's ladder. So that's what all these stories are based about. And they talk about different paths and balancing, so on and so forth. So that's why you have 3 pillars. So that's the same thing with the Hebrew letters. There's 22 Hebrew letters in the alphabet. There are 22 major cards, starting with 0 through 21. 0 being the fool. All right, and they all line up. So the 0 card or the fool card goes with the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. They're also on the Kabbalah tree of life. There are 22 paths that connect those 10 sephiras. So each path is lined up with a Hebrew. So let me just show you, for instance. So this is 10 sephiras. The 11th one is a hidden one. All right. So the fool goes right here. This is the first path from 1 to 2. All right. The magician, which is the second card, is the second path. It goes from 1 to 3. So if I was to line it up like that, so I'll probably try to do all the cards like that depending on how long the video is. I just wanted to point that out. So that brings me to why I brought up Brother Panic and his Batman thing. The Fool is the Batman trilogy is also about your descent. Well, it's really going backwards. It started from the physical, from when Batman or Bruce Wayne was a physical guy and he's trying to get back to his dark side, or the Batman in him to rise back up. So the Joker is up here. That's what you're going to have to learn about these allegories. Usually the bad guys in the movies is actually reversed. Because you got to understand, a lot of people want to stay in this physical matrix. So that's what the matrix is about. The bad guys in the matrix are the guys in black, the men in black. Those are actually the dark people. So the Joker is really trying to get you back up to the spiritual. Because remember, at the end of Batman Begins, that's how you knew Joker was going to be the next character or the bad guy in the second one, which is Dark Knight. On the first Batman, on the first trilogy, Batman Begins, at the end, you're seeing the Joker, which is the fool, and he was passing out Joker cards or playing cards. So that's how you know at the end of that movie that he was going to be the Joker, which was played by Heath Ledger. You know there's magic done in that, because that's why he ended up killing himself. What's his name made a comment, what's his name, Jack Nicholson played that character a long time ago. He told him he should have talked to him about it. So they know what they're doing. It's magic. The same guy that did the trilogy did, what you're going to learn also is the same guy, usually the same directors, they do other movies. I did a breakdown. He did Inception also. So I did a breakdown on the Inception video. So you want to learn these occult movies, usually just follow the directors. Which brings me to the guy named Alex Prowyas, whatever his name. I did a video on Dark City, because this is also about this dark side. But or the Batman side of it. So this is the hidden sephira. This is actually the back of your head, the medulla oblongata. So the base, so it lines up with your throat in the front. All this is the physical world, or your physical front side of your body. The dark side is actually in the back, and this is the bottom of your spine. I mean your brain stem. So the medulla oblongata. So I bring that up because in Dark City, it's really talking about that dark side, that back shadow side, or because you know in Batman they was all talking about the League of Shadows. If you remember, Bane opened up the Black Gate Penitentiary, because he was part of the League of Shadows. So this is your shadow self. That's what the whole Silent Hill movie is about. Her daughter had a fraction. She had been raped, so the girl had a dark energy that had to be combined. I think it was a list. You can watch that movie Silent Hill, the first one. I bring him up. He has an upcoming movie called Gods of Egypt. All white people forever. They do this all the time. My next video is going to be about creating magical entities. I touched on it in that Beyonce video about thought forms coming to life, but they're never going to really portray any black people in any position of being gods and stuff like that. So they'll give you something like Chadwick Boseman, the guy who played James Brown, and Jackie Robinson in those movies. They let him play Thoth. So Thoth, or Tahuti, who later became Hermes in the Greek, is your thoughts. So he's the god. You can Google Thoth or Tahuti, and he's the god of magic and so on and so forth. I bring up Idris Elba in the Norse mythology. Idris Elba plays the pineal gland. So in all those Thor movies, he's Heimdall. So he's always on that bridge. He's the all-seeing, all-hearing eye. So he's actually the third eye of the pineal gland. So they sprinkle black people in there, but they keep them in the head, which is kind of good. But I just want to bring that up because even if you see all these dark movies, that's what they're talking about. Anything with dark in it. If you look at the Thor: The Dark World, it's all about, the whole movie is about saving the 9 realms. The 9 realms. These are the 9 realms. One through 9. So that's not counting the first one, because the first one is Ketha. So you remember the weapon he wanted to use. The weapon he wanted to use was called Aether. So we're talking about Aether or Ether. Or ether is really your 5th element. So it's all 4 of the elements combined. It's really spirit. So which is Kether, the first Sephirah. So this is all about using this weapon to destroy this illusion, this physical world. And where are they at? They're from the dark side. They're the Dark Elves. And the leader of the Dark Elves was Malkuth. So on this Tree of Life, it's Malkuth. But behind here, he played the Dark Sephirah. It's the exact same tree behind this. So this, on the dark tree, or what they call the Tree of Death, or the Kaliphoth, I told you in the Dark City, it's the Kaliphoth, or the Shells. He's playing the world instead of Malkuth. They call him Malkuth. So that's what Thor: The Dark World. Remember, the bad guys in movies are actually the good guys. What they're trying to destroy is this illusion. So that's what this magic is all about. So you can remember that this is really just an illusion. It's all in your head. So I'm drilling this in your head, bringing up all these movies as examples and all these stories. It's the same story. What is these stories about? What are all these allegories trying to tell you? And that you came from the heavens. You came from one of the stars or something like that. That's why I said this is the Zodiac, Adam Cat, man. This is your prototype right here. This is you in the stars. So that's why the Batman tag was for the Joker was, why you so serious? It was a play on the word of Sirius, S-I-R-I-U-S. So I'll get to that when I talk about the Batman stuff. So you're going to learn that you're not from no ape like they try to get you to think in Lucy with their mind control. Lucy was a black woman. They found the remains of a regular woman, not an ape-like woman. But they can't admit that all races came from black people. Alright, so did I cover everything on my notes? Okay, yeah, folks. So later on, the tarot cards became the playing cards. You have 52 playing cards because it's 52 weeks in a year. You got 4 suits. So the 4 suits represent the 4 seasons, the 4 cardinal points. So what are the cardinal points? You got 2 solstices, which is the summer solstice, which is June 21st, and the winter solstice, December 21st. And the 2 equinox, or equal nights, when the days are even. You got the spring equinox, which is March 21st. So this is when the Hunger Games always start. You always want to start around Aries. So this is the Aryan energy. And then you have the fall and autumn equinox, which is around September 21st. All right, so that's what those 4 suits stand for. So there are 13 cards, including the ace. 1 through 10 is ace through 10, plus the 3 face cards. So it brings you to 13, that magical number, that Masonic number. It's always the Wiccan number. It's 13. You need 13. The most you can have is 13 witches in one coven. So you got 13 times. So we used to go off a lunar calendar. It was 28 days in each month. Times the 13 months, the lunar moon months, will bring you to 364. So plus you add on with the Joker, you got your 365 days in a year. So for you guys like, well, I play spades and I have a little Joker and a big Joker. That's for the leap year. Sometimes it's 366 days. Because you know, that's what our daylight saving times is. That 364 and point something, whatever they leave off at the end. After 4 years, it add up to 1 whole day. So you got the little Joker and big Joker for leap years. So that's how you got your playing cards. Alright, I think I touched on everything. Told you that there was a hidden Sephirah Da'ath. I mean, in Hebrew, Da'ath means knowledge. I told you knowledge in the tree of knowledge, or to know, is a euphemism in the Bible for sex. So knowledge equals sex. I also told you sex equals death. Alright, death equals Da'ath. So it all means the same thing. You're the generator, operator, and destroyer. Okay, so I can take this down. Now let's get into the lecture. Okay, so I told you, like I said, all 22 paths. So this is the first Hebrew alphabet, and this is the fool. Don't get turned off by the name with the word fool. Fool, it comes to, the etymology of it is the phallus, F-O-L-L-I-S, or something like that, which means windbag or a bag of wind. So, you know, you have, I told you that this is Aries, so this is in your head. This is the tribe of Gad. So you can be, when you call somebody airhead, it becomes negative, but it can also mean the spirit. So this is more of a spiritual wind. So that's what the fool really represents. Now I told you this whole thing, what the tarot cards are really about And even the Kabbalah tree of life, it's from you coming up here is when you be spiritual or you were light energy. You came down. So that's what the tarot cards. This is also a journey of the fool. So what you want to do with the tarot cards is break them up. There are 22 cards. This is the 0 card. So you break up the other 21, starting with the magician. So you are the magician in the physical world. And you end it, the last card is the world. And the world card goes down here. This is the last one. It connects number 9 to number 10. So the world. So that's when you become physical. So you go from being, you start off as the magician up here and go down into the world. So 1 through 21, if you break them down into 3 sets, 7, 7, 7, what you're dealing with is, with the tarot cards is, just like even with the, what's called, you're going from the Trinity. So you're going from the spiritual, the mental, and the physical. So sometimes you can say, instead of saying spiritual, physical, mental, you can go soul, mind and body. Some say Father, Son, Holy Ghost, that type of stuff. So what you're dealing with is your the tarot cards can broken down. The first 7 from the magician to the chariot, that deals with your physical. I mean, no, I should say physical. The spiritual part of it. The next 7 from strength to temperance. So you can get all the names over here. From strength to temperance, you're going to be dealing with your mental part. So that's your formation part. The last 7 from the devil to the world, you're dealing with the physical part. So you can just meditate on the cards like that, or you can, like I said, you can meditate one card at a time. You can also meditate on the Kabbalah tree of life. You can meditate on the paths, so you can learn everything you need to know about this Sephirah and this Sephirah and the path to get there, stuff like that. Some things you might want to take note of. I told you, although this is the second card that leads from Kether and it passes through this hidden Sephirah, I told you this was a special one, because this is what the Masons talk about, crossing the desert. This is the 13th path. So over here you'll see it's the 13th path, which is Gimel, which is a camel. That's why they said he crossed the desert or the abyss. That's why they had a G. That's one of the things that the G stand for Masons. But this is the High Priestess card. So you might want to meditate on stuff like that. But if you notice, the 13th card is death. I just told you, Thoth and death. So this may be the path. So stuff like that you can start meditating on. See how the cards line up or stuff like that. Notice stuff like that. Notice stuff like how the Lover's card and the Devil card are really the same card. So you got the Lover's card and you got the Devil card. So just try to see how all the cards connect by laying them out. Stuff like that. Got one of the cards called the Tower. But so let me see, maybe I'll just go. So you basically the fool going through these 3 worlds. So you want to go, the first 7 is the spiritual part, the second 7 is the mental part, and the third 7 is the physical part. Or you can reverse it. Like Batman started off as Bruce Wayne, then he moved up. Because the Joker was up here. He was basically leading him to this part right here. And then who took over on the last one was Bane. So he opened up this dark world. He let him out. So he was talking about, man, this is all an illusion. Anyway, you need to go open up your shadow self. That's the real self. So here's my analogy for it. When you go to the show, you're seeing the movie on the screen. That's what we're doing. It's a mental projection. This is an illusion based on our brain. Our brains are the projector. We never look back at the projector. That's the source. So we think the movie is real, and the people on the movie or the characters are real, but they're not. It's actually coming from the projector. So that's what this is about. This is the movie screen. It's been projected from this dark or this backside of your shadow self. So you're the fool that goes on this journey of descending and ascending. So you have to choose, whether you want to stay down in the physical or so on and so forth. So that's what the Hebrew letters are also. So I told you have 22 Hebrew letters. But if you ever studied the Hebrew alphabet video I did, you also know 5 of those Hebrew letters, when they at the end of the word, they have a different number value. I put an asterisk by them, so you can just do your own homework on that. But so you add those 5 with the original 22 letters, so because 5 of them are doubled, so you have 22 plus the 5 extra ones, so they bring you to 27. So do the same thing I said with the tarot cards. You divide those by 3. So the first 9 is about your spiritual journey. So the first 9 letters is a spiritual journey. The second 9 is about your mental or when you're starting to form something. And the third or the last 9, which are actually the 5 extra ones plus the 4 left over, from 18 to 22. I mean from 15 to 22 plus the 5 new ones. That's your physical journey. So that's how you can meditate on that. So if you want to meditate with the Hebrew alphabet along with the tarot, so that's another way to go with it. Meditate on the numbers or what the numbers mean. I told you, even though the death card is right here, you know the death card is right here, you still know it's the 13th card. You know this is the 13th path. So you know you can also meditate on how you want to get. Most people take the middle pillar, so on and so forth. So stuff like that, you can meditate like that. What else do I touch on? That may be of importance. Oh, okay. So you basically have 4 worlds. I added some other things with here. So the soul. So you have different parts of your soul according to Judaism or some of it's Kabbalism. So these are the different parts of your soul. I can't pronounce, I don't speak Hebrew, but I know Ruach. So that's basically spirit. But you'll see that the first Sephirah relates to this part of the soul. The second one, choke one, relates to Chiah. So you might see Chiah, I forgot the number on Chiah, because Jewish people give you money. I think Chiah stands for 13. Don't quote me on that. But you can look up Chiah, I think I did something about it. You'll see Jewish people give you money in increments of 13, so 13, 26, or 39, based on Chiah. I think this means life, or something like that. Chiah, or something like that, but it means life. So they think it's good luck to give you something. So we're dealing with that number 13 again. Binah, or the third Sephirah, is Neshama. But Sephirahs 4 through 9 is Ruach, so that's the spirit of it, and the last one is Nefesh. So these are your degrees of your soul. Now you want to know it's 4 worlds, so you're dealing with the 4 worlds. So up here for the first one, it's only lined up with Ketha. This is called Absolute. Well, this is the archetypes. So these are your archetypes. So right here is like sky's the limit of what you can think of. So these are all just unformed potential thought forms that you can come up with. Number 2 and 3, these two are the second world. It's called Bria. This is our creative world. So you can create. So let's pretend this is just raw material up here. I'm trying to use some type of analogy. This is all raw material, or trees, whatever have you. Down here you can be creative. What you want to do with trees? I might want to make some paper. I might want to make some cabinets. So this is your creative world, these two. So the archetype world is the fire world. So you want to be baptized by fire and then by water. Okay? So that's what John the Baptist and Jesus, baptized by fire, baptized by water. So these are those two. So this is all above the abyss. So when you get below the abyss, this is where the physical world starts. So this is Yetzirah. This is the world of formation. So this is the builder guard. So right here, this Sephirah number 4. It stands for Jupiter. In Kemet, it was Ptah, P-T-A-H. So Ptah, you get paternal, which is the father. So this is the father. This is also Zeus, father gods, so on and so forth. So I'll touch on that story in a minute. So this is Ptah, Jupiter, and so on and so forth. But this is from 4 on down to 9. Is where you form. This is where you go from what you created. So up here you created the ideas and thoughts. So say you I got trees. So right here on the creative part, you think about what you want to do with the trees. I want to make some paper, and I want to make some desks. So down here you start forming your materials. So you got to cut the tree down and so forth. And then down here is where you form it all together. So from 4 through 9. So this is air. This is the spiritual part of it. So this is where you get the build. This is Yahweh also. So remember, he's below the abyss. So he didn't know if anything above him. This was his mother, Binah, or Saturn energy. So this is the story. This is Zeus, and this is Kronos. Kronos is eating all his children because his children. So in the mythology, Kronos or time ate up all his children, but she fed him a rock. Rhea did fed him a rock, which was supposed to be Zeus, because she didn't want him. He thought he was going to be killed. He killed his father Uranus, which means heaven. He killed Uranus, and so it was prophesied that he would be killed by one of his male children. So he ate all his male children as they was born. So if you notice well, I'll go there later. But he ate all his male children. So Rhea, his wife, didn't want him to eat Zeus, so she gave him a rock. When he ate that rock, he spit up all the other children. So these are the other children, or the 6 gods. So they spit out, and that's what made up these 6 down here, if you will. So that's that story. So I also told you that's the same story, Idolatroth. In the Gnostic story, Sophia, or wisdom, she wanted to create something. So she created without the help of this guy right here. So she was the widow's, so she made a son. So she basically did it without the help of the father, the male energy. So she created this ugly thing called Idolatroth, which later became Yahweh in the Hebrew. And Idolatroth was a jealous guy. He didn't know about this energy or this divine spark. So he created this physical world that we're in. So this is the world of formation from Sephirah 4 through 9. All right. And I also failed to point out, even though we're not going to use the minor arcana in this lecture, one, these are the aces, these are the 2s, 3s, 4, so on and so forth. So each sephira down to 10, you get the 10s. Now the face cards, you have the kings over here in the 2, the queens over here in the 3rd one. Then you drop down right here, the knights go into the 6th one, and then you have the pages down here. So the knights can be known as the princes also, prince, and the pages can be known as the princess. Well, you can do mother, you can do a father, mother, son, daughter. Okay, so and also, so now with the suits, so over here you have the wands. In the regular cards they're clubs. Over here you have cups. In the regular cards they are hearts. Down here you have knights, swords, which in the regular deck would be spades in your regular playing cards. And down here you have pentacles. Sometimes on the cards, tarot cards, there'd be coins or discs, but in playing cards there'd be diamonds. All right, so you're dealing with the 2nd, 3rd, 6th, and 10th sephira when it comes to that. So I'll just repeat it in this one. You got 2s, kings, wands, or clubs. The 3rd one you got 3s, queens, cups, or hearts. The 6th sephira you got 6s, knights, swords, or spades. And the last or 10th one you have 10s, pages, pentacles, or diamonds. Alright, so I cover that. So you can just meditate on stuff like that. You can put it all together. Did I miss something? So just know that, this is how the world was created. I told you about the forming and all this stuff. So this is where all the builder guard stuff come from. So this is the whole Mason thing. They call it the Grand Architect. They got Hiram. So you have the 3. You got Solomon, and then you got the King Hiram of Tyre, and then you got Hiram of Beth. Hiram just a play on words. It's the high ram. So I told you Ram or Aries is in your head. So that's what this is all about. This is about you being an architect. You are the God, the generator, operator, and destroyer. But you can only use this stuff. So this is all about your mental forces. So you got to remember that you can draw from not only up here, but also in the real you, which is behind you in your brain stem. So you can draw this information from your subconscious mind and bring stuff into the physical world. So that's what this whole magic thing is about. And that's how the tarot relates to it. So if I can sum it up, that way I won't miss my point, is that all this stuff is really about how you were once up in the heavens, a light being, the Elohim, because the Elohim created Yahweh. You got to look at Genesis 1. It's let us. That us is Elohim, which is male and female energies. The Elohim created Yahweh. Yahweh doesn't come into the Bible. You wouldn't know this because they translate it into English. Yahweh doesn't come into, or Lord God. They start changing it to Lord God in Genesis 2. So this is down here. Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 is two different creation stories. Genesis 2 is about the creation of this physical world. Genesis 1 is about the creation of everything, coming out of nothing. So up here is the void or nothingness, the 3 negative ein sof forth. So just so you know, FYI. So that's what all these allegories is for, to give you something, a physical thing to look at so you can meditate on it. And after a while, you're not going to need it. This is not real. Just so you know, there's no such thing as these levels, and it's not really like you're going up, up, and up. These dimensions are really stacked on top of each other. So the tarot, the Hebrew alphabet, the Kabbalah tree of life, all these things are just physical things that help you meditate on and just remember. So like I said, the point of my channel is for magic. So once you get these stories down pat, once you heard one story, you heard them all. Just for entertainment wise, I'm still going to break down stories and movies, but I'm not interested in decoding every goddamn story in the Bible. So you can decode them for fun and then share them with me, but I'm not a religious person, never have, never will be. But I will make comments on how important images are. So the fact that he didn't use anybody but one black person for the gods of Egypt, and they're never going to give you a black Jesus. But I don't mind, because I know none of those characters in the Bible really existed. But when I make this next video on creating magical entities, you'll see why it may be important that you at least know that and then make your own entities. Like the one thing about the Prophet Muhammad, the reason why he doesn't have an image, because he's not a real character. He's just a character also. He's not a real person. He's called the seal of the prophet. Those 7 seals talked about in the book of Revelation, they talk about your 7 chakras. So he's the last seal. Your 7th chakra is really outside of your head, the crown chakra. So it's really your aura. So he's the seal of the prophet. So all the stories about Prophet Muhammad, you can just know they're talking about your 7th chakra. All right. Is there anything else over here? I don't know if I mentioned it, the wands or clubs. All the black cards, two black suits are masculine and active. So the clubs and the spades, and the red cards are feminine and passive. So the wands or clubs are fire. The cups or hearts represent water. Swords or spades represent air. The pentacles or diamonds represent earth. So you can also put that on your altar also. So if you want to think of it like that. Yeah, you always want to meditate also on stuff like what these glyphs are or hieroglyphs. So you know the Aleph is an ox. So you might want to know what an ox is. I think that's a castrated bull. That's why it's really air. This is the mother letter air. So it's dealing with food. So this is how those two line up. You're going to start learning stuff like that. Beth means house or housed in or within. So you're dealing with the Magus or the magician and so on and so forth. So you can deal with, you know, which planet, Uranus, Mercury, or which zodiac sign it lines up with. So sky's the limit. That's why I say get the book of correspondence, the tables or whatever. And then you can meditate on what all these things mean and what they all line up for. And then you ask questions right before you go to sleep. And your conscious, your higher conscious. What we have is what that's called a collective unconscious. So we all share from the same pool. We all can know the same stuff. Everything I'm telling you, I mean, you can know also. But you gotta just know how to pull it out. Some people can pull it out better. So that's what you gotta learn, how to start meditating and doing breathing exercises, and then use working with this every day. Initially, you may not know any of this stuff. Your dreams may just be empty. But if you keep thinking about this stuff, I think about Sudoku. It was so hard to do just a basic Sudoku puzzle. And now I can do even the hard ones. And sometimes when I can't do it, I spend time on the hard one, and it take me forever, and I don't even complete it. I'll go to sleep, come back next day, and do the same puzzle with no problem. It's as if I worked on it while I was asleep. All right. So if that ever happened to you, that's what's happening to you. You're getting your answers in your sleep. I don't think there's nothing else I can tell you, Miss Third Eye, but I sure hope this satisfies you, because you are not gonna let me not do this video. And like I said, if I find anything else after the fact, if I go back to meditating on this stuff, I will make a whole new video and add on to it. So for now, I think I covered everything. Just know this is all about, every story is really about you, where you came from, and how you became physical, and how you can get up out of here. So you won't have to fear death. We've been programmed to fear death and think that's the end. There is no beginning, there is no end. And you didn't come from any monkeys. You're a cosmic being. You came from the star systems, whether it's Sirius or Orion, the Pleiades, or whatever. That's for you to meditate and find out. Because I told you in one of my, you're gonna eventually, when you do this magic, you're gonna get your soul name. Like Superman, you are the Superman they're talking about. On your earth, you can be Clark Kent, but in the heavens, you may be Kal-El, but you're not supposed to share. And one thing you're gonna learn in magic, and if you start dealing with entities, once you know their name, you can control them. So you never want to give up your soul name if you ever get your name through your meditations. All right, I think that's it. So go ahead and pause the video on these certain things and take down all these notes. That way you can have it. So I'll just zoom in on. That's it. I'll put the camera down to show you the tarot cards laid out. So I got them 7 across. So the top, like I said, are the spiritual. Then you go to the second level, which is mental. The last one is the physical, because you're starting off as a magician, and you're going, so you're magically coming down into the physical world, then you just reverse it. So get your own tarot cards if that's what you're interested in, blah, blah, blah. So you just basically the fool. The fool is not a part of this. He's the one making this journey, going through all these 3 different layers. So also up here, you start off up here, become fifth, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. All right, hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much.